protect your soul.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Okay, guys. If you are just here, welcome to the stream. I'm gonna start in few minutes, so just give me some time. I'm trying to put some things together.
Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hang
Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Let's get started. Let's begin. All right. So yesterday I went back and I worked on the UV. So when I highlight everything, wow, I I worked on the UV, but I have a little issue. So you can see that on this, those extra shells I have, they are no longer here because I worked on them. So we don't have any issues here with all these UVs. But coming over to this one, I still have issue with this particular UV. Yeah, I also worked on this, but I still did not know why did not I still did not know why it's like this. So I'm going to quickly fix that now. So I'm going to right click and select UV shell, and I'm going to select this shell, and I'll be unfold again. I'm going to select this. I'll go over to unfold tab, and I'm going to hit on unfold again, and it is going to give me this. Now let me just shift this this shell over to this side. Okay. Now with this, I'm going to select this UV, and then I will go over to my unfold tab, and I'm going to hit on unfold along U, and I'm going to select the V and hit on unfold along V, and finally I'm going to hit on straighten UVs. So now you can see we no longer have that issue again, so the UV is really okay. All right, now we can just highlight everything and hit on layout. Okay, this is looking a little bit better. So from here now, we are going to send this into Substance Painter so that we can texture this, but we still have a little issue, I guess. So let's highlight all these. Let's just go into the object mode and select all these. Now you can see we have overlapping UVs, and these are going to cause issues for us when we get into Substance Painter. So we're going to highlight all the UV, but don't worry, we don't need to go into modify because we did the settings yesterday. So we can just hit on layout, and that should lay out everything properly for us. Okay, you can now see even the top, it's looking good, everything is looking okay. All right, now we're done with the UV and so on. It is time for us to send this into Substance Painter. So I'll just go away from the UV editing and go into modeling standard. I'm going to hit on Ctrl S to save this. Okay, let me go to the front. Then I will go over to file, and but wait, before I do that, I'm going to click on water bottle. But before I do that, I need to apply our material. Sorry about that. Now if you look at this water bottle, you can see that we have two different colors. We have one blue and we have one black. So I'm going to select this one. Normally I prefer making use of V-Ray, but I don't know, you guys might not be having V-Ray, so I'm going to stick to anode. So I'm going to select this part of the water bottle, and I'm going to right click and hold down, then scroll all the way down to assign new material, and new material. So I'll go over to Anode tab, shader, and I'm going to apply the AI standard surface. I'm just going to click on that. Then from here, I'm going to rename this to body underscore sorry underscore blue, and hit on enter. So I'm going to select this one again, right click, assign new material, Anode shader, AI standard surface, and I'm going to select this and name that to cap, if I'm correct, underscore blk, which is black. But let me just complete the spelling and click off, just hit on enter. Okay, now we can export this into Substance Painter. So while we export in Maya, let me quickly open up Substance. Okay, now let's select the group. So we have all objects selected. Then we can go over to File, hit on Export Selection. But before we do that, let's do something. Let's set a project folder. That was very bad of me at first. I couldn't do that. So let's go to File and let's go to Project Window. Just cancel. Let's go to Project Window. I already have this. I'm going to create another one new. Click here and click here, then I will go into Documents, Maya, and then Project. From here, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name this to Sports Water Bottle, and hit on enter. Now double click on this and just hit on select, and that is going to select that folder for me, and just name the project to Sports Water Bottle again, and now I'm going to hit on accept. So from now on, everything is going to be saved inside of that same project folder. But I guess we have a different project folder here. It saves into this project folder. So we go over to File, and then we go down to Save Scene As. Okay, it's in the scene folder, and we can hit on Save. So from now on, we now have this in project Sport Water Bottle scene bottle.mb. Okay, now we need to export this into Substance Painter. So we have applied the shader. Now we can go over to File, and let's come down to Export Selection, and this is going to open. So I'm just going to name this to bottle underscore substance, so that we know that this is for substance. And I'm not going to put this inside the same folder. So I'm going to go back into one of this folder here, and inside of the project folder I created, I'm going to right click and create new folder, and I'm going to name that folder to substance, and double click on that folder. This is where I'm going to save that. So every other settings here is okay for me. I don't want anything else. I'm just going to hit on export selection, and that it's done exporting. Now it is time for us to go into Substance Painter. But first, let's take a moment to study our reference. So this is just this body looks like iron, not more of plastic, and these also look like a plastic as well. Well, we're just going to texture this in form of a metal. Okay, this is metal and this is plastic. That is what we are just going to do. Now we have this label. This, I really don't know what is spelled here. I guess this is something like yellow. What, I don't know, maybe we can just or yellow image. Yeah, if I'm correct, that should be yellow image. So we need to first of all design this in Photoshop before we go into Substance Painter. Well, we already have Substance Painter open, which is here. We get back to this in a few minutes. So let's go into Photoshop and let's just keep this one side here so that we can see. And I'm just going to drag this to this part. We don't need the brush panel, so we can just close that. Okay, let me create a new file. Now the texture size I want to use for this, what I bought to, it's 2K. That is what I'll be using in Substance Painter. So here in Photoshop, I'm just going to add 2048 as the width and 2048 as the height. And for this, I'm just going to set this to 300. Sometimes I go crazy, I go all the way up to 600, but I'm going to stick to 300 here. Hit on create, and that's going to create this for me. Now we don't need any background at all. We don't need any background. So first I'm just going to create a solid color background, which is black, so that we can really see what we are doing. And I'm going to grab the text too, and I'm going to type in the yellow first. Control T to transform that, to scale that up. I can get something like this and try to align it in the center. This is an uppercase and I don't want that, so I'm going to bring up the text panel and then take this down, take it away from italic. Okay, now I can hit on Control T and scale this up a bit, just like that. Okay, now let's look for fonts. I don't know if I have, no, let me not go through there. I don't know if I have similar font that can match something like that. I think we can just work with this. Yeah, we can work with this. I can't find that particular font, so we can just work with this. Now looking at this, we have a shadow, so we can go, I think this, we can change this to something like a dark gray. Doesn't really matter, just so we can see. Click on OK. Let's select this, go to FX and go to drop shadow. Okay, now we're going to bring the opacity up all the way down to 100, and for the direction, let's move it this way. No, it's coming down a little bit, so let's take it up. Yeah, this is a little bit better, I think. Let's go up a little bit. Yeah, we can work with it, so let's increase the distance a little bit, just like that. So let's spread it out just a little bit. Okay, that is fine. Now we can come down to this part again. We have another drop shadow here, so we need to make the drop shadow 2. So we need to hit on drop shadow to create another one. So we select that one we just created, and now we have something like brown, something close to this, I think. Yeah, we can work with this. Click on OK, and this time we're going to increase the distance of this one, just like that. And I think this is too saturated, so let's desaturate it. Okay, this is fine. Now we can click on OK, and let's add a spray to this, and let's increase the size so that this looks a little bit blurry, because I feel like this is a little bit blurry here, but not that much. So let's take this down, like let's say 10 will be fine. Yeah, 10 is fine. Now we can click on OK. We've gotten what we want. Now we can just hold down alternate and duplicate this, then we can just type in image. Okay, we're just going to rough this design anyhow. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're just going to pull this anyhow, just like that. Yeah, I know it's not really aligning, but it doesn't really matter. We're not after this design. I guess you guys get the idea and you know how to do yours. Okay, now we're done with this. We can now turn off all the backgrounds. Turn this off, turn this off. We don't need any of the background. Then we go to file, save a copy as save as copy, sorry. Now we locate our document. We'll go into Maya project, spot what I bought to, spot what I bought to, source images. We're supposed to put that in source images, but no, we'll go back and just put that into the images, and we're just going to name this to label. I can click on this drop down menu and save it as PNG because we just want it on a transparent background, and we're going to hit on save and click on OK. Alright, we're done with Photoshop, but let's just save this in case we might need this later. So let's just save this as label.psd. Let's hit on save, click on OK. Now we'll go into Substance Painter. Photoshop, we don't need Photoshop for now, so we can just close Photoshop completely. So back in Substance Painter, we'll go to File, New. So from here, we're going to select our what I bought to. So we'll go into the project folder, just locate where we save this. We save this in Substance. Wow, am I sure I saved this in Substance? Let's check Sync. Oh my god, thank god we've actually not closed Maya. Okay, I saved this on a new folder itself, so I think we have issue here. Okay, we can just right click on this Substance folder and delete it. We don't need it, so we just right click on this, hit on rename, and we'll turn that to Substance, hit on enter. Now we can double click on that folder, select that, and hit on open. Now we have that open here. So I always make use of PBR, metallic, roughness, alpha blend, starter asset. I'm going to come down to this part and hit select 2K because that is what we use for our design in Photoshop. Now every other thing I'm going to leave it the way it is, and I'm going to hit, I guess no, I'm going to make use of DirectX. I'm going to hit on OK, and that should import it into Substance Painter. Okay, this is what we have now. No, this is not necessary. The next step is not necessary, but before we proceed to the next step, look at this. When you look at this part, you can see that we have the cap black, which is the material we apply in Maya before we export our bottle, and we have body blue, which is the body. Now this is not necessary. What I want to do is not necessary, which is referred to as baking of mesh maps. This is when you are working in game industry and you want to transfer the details on the low poly, on the high poly onto the low poly, but we're not doing something like that now. But I'm just going to hit on big mesh map. That is going to open this screen. Now we have some errors here, like all these issues we have here. So we currently need to fix all this. So we hit on return to painting mode, and we go back into Maya. And since we have all our objects selected here, we just go over to mesh display and hit on soften edges. Okay, that is fine. Now we can select this, go to file, hit on export selection, and we'll go back into what I brought to substance here. Let's select this and name this 2, and now we can hit on export selection. Now we'll go back into Substance Painter and we'll go to file, new, select the new one we just exported, 2K, and hit on OK. Discard, we don't want to save that. Alright, so here it's our new what I bought to. You can see the difference between this and the previous one. I don't know, you might not see that very well, but does not matter. So let's go to the big mesh maps again. Now you can see all those um pink or purple lines are no longer here anymore. Okay, let's come down to this part. What I want to bake, I don't need um thickness, I don't even need position, I don't need any of all this at all, but let me just leave everything the way it is. Now the most important settings you want to pay attention to here, it's the output size. So the texture size, we want to set the texture size to 2K. Now since we don't have high poly of our model, we're going to stick to use low poly as high poly, which is this particular mesh we have here. And now everything, we're just going to leave everything. Now if you want someone to make use of the anti-aliasing, it's going to help on your baking process, and it's going to make the edge really looks good and beautiful, but it's going to take a lot of time. So the most important ones are what I have done here. Now I'm just going to hit on bake selected textures and allow substance to do its work. Okay, now we're done with the baking. Then we hit on return to painting mode. Now you can see before we did the bake mesh, we don't have all these maps here. We now have the normal map, word space, normal, ID, ambient, curvature, position, and so on. Like I said, all these are not necessary for what we are doing. Okay, so we have blue as the main color of our water bottle body. So the first thing we need to do is to select the water bottle body and just be sure that we have it selected. So from here we're going to delete this one we have here, and we're going to create a new pen layer. So now when we create a new pen layer, it's going to apply a different color. I really don't see anything happen, so let's see from here. All right, so it did happen. Now let's select the blue color, and this is more on the cyan part, so let's try to increase this. Let's make this bluish more and more. So let's see. Yeah, this is more blue, so let's just keep it this way, but it's a little bit dark, so let's bring it down. Okay, all right, this is fine. So let's close this. So here I don't need any other thing else, I just need only the colors. I'm going to uncheck height, roughness, meta, emissive, opacity, and normal. I just need only the color, so I'm going to double click on this and name that to base color and hit on enter. Now since we are looking at this to be a meta, we're going to create another fill layer here, but this time we don't need the color. You can see it covers the blue we have there before, so we're going to hit on color. We don't need that. Uncheck color, normal, opacity, emissive, height, roughness. We only need the meta. We want to make this look like meta, so we can just increase this a little bit so that we get those shiny looks we have here. I think this is fine. Yeah, this is okay. This is really okay. We can work with this. All right, I think I love this. So now we need to apply something like roughness on the body so that it doesn't look just rough, that it doesn't look clean as it is like this. So we'll come down to this part, we just hit on, we just save this to as meta, and we hit on enter. Then we'll create another fill layer, and then here we don't need color again, we don't need normal, we don't need height, we don't need opacity, emissive, meta. We only need the roughness, but this time we're going to click on the roughness and let's look for something like dust, and let's see if we can get something like dust. Okay, let's try something like this. Nah, this isn't okay, so let's take this out. Let's look for something a little bit light. No. Let's look at this. So let's play around with this and let's see if this can. No, this is making it to look more rusty. Nah, I don't want this. It's making it to look rusty. So let me check again. Okay, this looks a little bit better. So let's increase the contrast. Let's play around with this. Okay. This is looking rusty and I don't really like that. So let's increase the contrast. Contrast down. Okay. Alright, I just wanted to have this. I think I just like this. I just like this. So I'm going to keep this way so that it looks a little bit rough. So this time it is time for me to add the label. So I'm just going to double click and name this to roughness. Hit on enter. Now I'm going to create another fill layer. So this time I'm going to uncheck normal, opacity, emissive, roughness, and height. So for the base color, we are going to add our label as the base color. So we'll go over to file, import resource. So we click on add resource, go back to image, label.png, undefined. So from this undefined we click and set that to texture. I want this to just save in the current section, not library, just current section. So we hit on import and that should import this into our library. So we're just going to drag this and drop it on base color. So we're going to click and drop it on base color. So now when we rotate, you can see we have it here, but it is not okay. So now we can scroll up from here, and first UV unwrap, we don't want it to repeat, so we're just going to hit on none. So we can work on the rotation. Okay, now we can scale this ceiling. This is having background and I don't want that to have background, so let's make use of physical size. So let's increase this and let's take this up. So this should be going around. Now we have an issue. The background is not supposed to be there. This is currently an issue for us here. So let's try to play around with this and let's see. We don't want more of the meta news. So let's go back. Let's see what is going on here. Let's see. Nope. UV projection and filtering. I think I may look up on this later and I can fix this next app. I really don't know how I take this off previously, but we can just work with this. So let me quickly no, I love this rotation, so let me offset this a little. Yeah, I forgot to put the line, but that's fine. So I'm just going to offset this a little. I think this is fine. But the roughness we have, it's a little bit crazy. So we go over to the roughness here. So I think I might reduce the opacity a bit. So let's see. Sorry, let's select the roughness again. Let's take it down. No, it's still not going down. So let's just take it off and select the roughness from here. And let's try to make this subtle. Let's just make this subtle, just like that. I just want to make mine rough, so I'm just going to keep it this way. Now we have issues there, but I'm going to leave that. Okay, so now we have this. So this is a little bit at the bottom. So we'll go back to, so we're going to name this to label, hit on enter, and we'll go up, and let's bring this down a little bit. I think we might want to scale this down just like that. Yeah, we're having issues of that thing coming up here. I don't want to go through that because that is going to take a lot of time, but I promise I'm going to fix that in next video that has to do with live streaming. So I'm just going to select all these here on Control G to group them. I'm going to double click and I'm going to name that to body blue, hit on enter. Then we'll go back to cap black. Now we're going to delete this and create a new fill layer that is black, of course. So let's turn every other thing of roughness, metal, height, except color. So let's click on color. Let's bring this down to something like this. Shouldn't be that black. Of course, shouldn't be that black. Okay, this is fine. Now since since this is rubber, so we're going to name this base color first. Since this is rubber, we're not going to be making use of any metalness here, so it has to be rubber alone. So we'll go here and we'll create a new fill layer. We don't want color, we don't want normal, we don't want height, we don't want opacity, we don't want emission, and we don't want metal. All we need is the roughness. So let's go over to the roughness. Let's see if we can get something like rubber. Okay, so let's select this and let's see. This is too shiny. This is carbon fiber, so let's take that off. So let's see this. Okay, this looks more like a plastic, but let's just take this off and let's see if we can get something. This looks a little bit better, but I'm actually looking for something like that. Let's try and see. Rubber rock color variation. Let's try to increase this. It's not giving me much. Okay, rubber roughness shouldn't catch more light. Rubber roughness variation. Okay, I want this to look more like rubber. So grain intensity, I think I want this to be that much, and grain density, yeah, I think this looks more like rubber. And yeah, I love this, this looks more like rubber. Okay, this is fine, I love this looks more like rubber. So I'm going to hit on Ctrl S to save this into project sport water bottle substance, and I'm just going to name this to water bottle and hit on enter. Okay, I promise I'm going to fix this later on. I will fix this and I will tell you guys how I fixed that. Okay, we have something good here. I think just this two layer it's okay for me. I don't want much. I know it's a little bit different. I can't get this. This looks like dots, dots, and dots, but let me see. Let me check if I can get out. Let's look for plastic. Yeah, still the same thing. And so I'm just going to name this to roughness and hit on enter. Okay, let me select both of them, hit on Control G, close the group, double click on the group and name that to cap underscore. That's a cap underscore black and hit on enter. All right, so we have for the body and we have for the cap. Now we didn't do anything advanced like making use of any generator and so on. All right, these are what we have. Now it's time for us to export this back into Maya, and of course this won't be our final render, what we're going to use for the final render. I have to come back and fix this, but I love what I have here. This looks more looks more like meta to me. Okay, so we'll go over to file, but first let's hit on Control S to make sure we're on the safer side. So we'll go over to file, hit on export textures. Okay, so this is important. So we have, we're gonna click here and go into documents. Let's locate our Maya folder, then we hit on project, sports water bottle, source images, substance, sorry. So let's go source images. Here we're just going to right click, new, hit on new folder and name that to textures, hit on enter, double click on the folder, hit on select folder, and then here we have PBR metallic roughness. So we're going to click on that and we're going to look for the render engine we are making use of, which is Anode. So we're going to set this to Anode AI standard. So we're going to click on that. So from here, size based on each texture size, but no, we want this to be 2K. But since we select the 2K material while we are creating this project in Substance, it is going to use the 2K, but I want to set that to 2K here just to be safe. So in this, we're going to leave this to dilation infinite. So once we're done with this, every other thing we're just going to leave it the way it is. So these are what we are going to get here. So let's just go to this part and hit on export, and that is going to export. Finally, we're done in Substance Painter, so we can close this. You can just hit on open directory and that is going to open the directory for you. Now you can see all our textures here. Okay, now we can just, I guess, minimize this. I'm just going to this side view and open this up. Okay, so here we have for the bottle body blue, we have base color, emissive, height, methaness, normal, roughness. Okay, and the same thing we have for the body, for the cap. Now let's go into here. Then we want to make use of Substance to import this into Maya, but there are other ways of doing this. So I think maybe, sorry, okay, we should import this with Substance. That's really going to be more easier than anything else. So let's go to Substance, Now we just want to make use of this, so let's click on this, and we have Anode selected right here already. So normally if you're making use of any render engine aside from Anode, you could just want to select them from here, but we're making use of Anode currently, so we're just going to hit on select multiple maps. So we're going to locate where we have our maps, which is under source images, textures, and now let's select, this is cap, this is the body, so let's select everything here: roughness, normal, metalness, height, emissive, base color. Normally we don't need the emissive, we don't need the height, even in normal map, but that's just everything we need here. So let's just select everything. Now it is going to place everything here for us. So before we hit on apply, let's go over to this part here and open our hyper shade here. This is our hyper shade, so I guess I'm just going to shift this here. So now we can, since we have our hyper shade open, now we can hit on apply, and that is going to import this for us into our hyper shade, but currently it's not affecting what we have here. So what we are going to do now is to select this, then we'll come down into our hyper shade and we select this material here, and we right click and hold down, then we hit on assign material to viewport selection. So let's quickly see that. So let's repeat that again. And this is actually not applying. Okay, we have this as AI standard surface 3. So we have body here. So I think let's just right click here and let's see. I think I am having a little misunderstanding here right now. Let me select this, assign material to selection, assign material to, we don't have any selection here, so let's right click and hit on assign material to selection, and this isn't applying, and I don't know what is going on here for now. It should apply to the viewport selection, and it's not really applying onto that, so we're having a little error here. So no problem with that. So let's select this, right click and go into material attribute. So I think we have a little error here. So what we are going to do, we just have to right click and go to assign existing material, and let's assign the body blue back here. And now we can't see the material, so let's right click and go to material attribute. So we don't have anything here, so let's manually assign all these. The hyper shade, I don't know what's wrong with the hyper shade today, some things don't really go well. So we can just click on color right here, and now we'll go into file. So from here, let's click and select textures. So we'll go for the body blue base color. Let's select that, hit on open, and now we can see the color, and I guess that is where we have issues at first. I'm sorry, we're supposed to be in the shaded mode and we are not at that point, so I guess that was where we were having issue at first with the hyper shade. Well, we already started with this, so let's just continue. So we go back here and we come down to the metalness and we click on this. We go over to file, now click on this folder, texture, body metalness, going to open that. Now that metalness is having this issue here, Yeah, but like I said, we're not going to do this. We're not going to work with this. I will work on this later, and you guys can see, and I'll tell you guys how I do that later. So what we want to do for the melter is we want to come down to the color space here and click on this utility and hit on raw, and we'll go down to the color balance and set this to alpha luminance. Now we'll go back, then we'll come down to the roughness. Let's click on roughness, go to file, we'll go up, click on this file, double click on this, and now we'll go for the roughness, click on open, and that should apply the roughness. You can see that, but not really visible. Okay, now we'll come down to this part here, utility, hit on raw, scroll down, alpha is luminance, then let's go back, and finally we'll go down to geometry, bump mapping. So click on this, hit on file, then click on this, textures, then we hit on normal, body blue normal, hit on open. Now from here you want to set this to utility and raw. Now when you come down, the alpha is luminance should be checked by default, so let's go back, and now here that says use as bump, you're going to click on that drop down menu and set this to use as tangent space normal. Now we're done with this, so now we can just go off on this. Let's select the cap. Now we can right click on that and go to material attributes, so we have the cap and cap black here. So let's select this, go to file, let's select this, go to texture, then cap black base color, let's open that, that has opened. Then we go back and go to melterness, let's click on that. Did I apply the AI standard surface? Okay, don't worry, let's go to file, melterness, so click on that, texture, melterness, so let's open that, that has applied. So come down, utility, raw, alpha is luminance, let's go back, then we come to roughness, then we hit on file, and we click here and we double click on this, then we'll go to roughness. Sorry, yeah, I guess that should be roughness if I'm correct. We select the roughness, hit on open, come down to this part, utility, raw, alpha is luminance, go back, and let's scroll down to this part that says geometry, click on this, file, double click, body blue, body cap black normal, here on open, utility, alpha is luminance, sorry, raw and alpha is luminance. Now we can go back, sorry, let's go back to this, then let's hit back again. But from here, tangent space normal, and we go back and go back. Now this is a little bit okay for now, so let's just quickly take a quick preview of this. So first I will go to file and I'm going to create camera. So from here I'm going to double click on the camera and I'm going to name this to render underscore cam and hit on enter. Then we'll go over to the render settings from here. Since we apply shaders for anode, we're going to make use of anode. Then we scroll down to this part that says renderable camera. Let's click on that and hit on render cam. From here you want to input your specific size. I'm just going to put in or maybe we can use, okay, let me put something custom. I'm going to put 3000 by 4000, and here I'm just going to set this to 300. Okay, so I guess this is just what we want to set here, so we can close this. So first I will go over to the anode tab and I'm going to create a skydome light so that we can just use that to preview. Now we can hit on Let's go to Anode and hit on open render view and hit on play, and let's see what is going to come up here for us. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, this is looking good, but not as what as not as it's supposed to be, we because we don't have a proper lighting. So that is what we are going to be doing in our next live stream. So I just need to configure some things now before we proceed. Okay, so now let's close the Anode render view. So let's go over to turn on our resolution gate. Sorry, I'm not sure if this is our main resolution gate. Okay, so let's go to panel perspective and hit on render cam. From here, then let's turn on resolution gate. So let's scale this, let's zoom this in just like this. Now we need to rotate this so that normally we're supposed to rotate the model itself, but let's just do this. Okay, now let's take this up. Yeah, so we're going to stop here for today on our next live stream, and of course I really don't know when it's going to be. We are going to light up our scene, add a backdrop, and we are going to surrender. We can place this on table if possible, but I'm not sure we're going to do that. But we're just going to light up and render. And for this label, I'm going to fix this and take away all this, and I will explain to you guys how I did that. But this is just how you can texture in Substance. This might look good here in Substance, but trust me, it's going to look good in Maya because we have not lighting in that. We've not lighting in Maya, so we can just quickly go to Iray from here so that we can see this here. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's live stream, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope to see you guys next live stream. And if you are new to Maya, wishing to get started with Maya, if this is too difficult for you guys to follow, so you can just check the channel we have, or I have Maya tutorials which you guys can follow along with. So see you guys in the next live stream, and do have a lovely night.